I don't set the payment. I suggest the payment. You set the payment. What payment makes sense for you and your family? Okay.
Right. Yep.
Do not let a lender max you out unless you're comfortable with maxing you out.
Right.
Because that's a payment that you're making. For me, it's not just about home ownership, it's about home sustainability.
Hello, this is Shauna Weatherspoon, Shauna's CEO Weatherspoon of the EMP podcast. Welcome to this week's edition of Empower Me with Purpose. Our purpose is to be on purpose. We meet with amazing men and women out in the community doing well, making it happen, who are purpose driven, who are innovative, who are exciting, and they have a message to share. So our goal and our responsibility is to get this done just for you, to put people in front of you, to inspire you, to get you all fired up about your life, your business, your mission, and make sure along the way you are feeling absolutely blessed and just fabulous, darling. Today, we have the honor and the pleasure of being in the building with no other than Jason Mitchell of Wintrust Mortgage. I want to tell you guys, you are in for a treat over these next 30 to 45 minutes to learn more about building wealth, more about the financial industry, more about a man in leadership who's also a husband, a boss, a dad, all of these things out in his community. We're going to be learning about him today. Today is today. So get ready, get ready, get ready. Let me share his bio with you all really briefly. Jason Mitchell has been in the mortgage industry for over 10 years. He has a great passion for serving others, and his mission is to help people finance the dream of homeownership and give children backyards to play in. Along with residential mortgages, Jason is also a regular volunteer instructor for Habitat for Humanity in Chicago and other organizations within the Chicagoland area. He resides in Oswego, Illinois, with his wife of 12 years, LaShaunna, and their two beautiful young sons. Welcome to the EMP podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. We are honored for you to be in the building. So I know you're a busy man. I really want you to say from my heart to yours, we thank you for your time. I know you are a man of service. You are definitely a servant leader. So we don't have too many men on a podcast often. So we're just excited for you to be joining us. So what do we need to know about you? We want to, aside from the bio, who is the man, the myth, the legend?
So really in a nutshell, it is what it says in the bio. I am everything that bio is. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a person who loves serving in the community, and I get to do that. I get the opportunity to do that through mortgage transactions as well. Not many people can say that they're living out their life calling through the career that they've chosen or that has chosen them. So for me, that opportunity is huge.
That's awesome. So I have been in several settings with you, and obviously we work together, and I can speak to the phenomenal job that you do for our clients to move family forward. So I thank you again for that. But I've never heard you say what you just said. So that is an honor and a blessing and a privilege to wake up and be able to do the things that you love to do and actually make a living while doing it, right?
Right.
So let's talk to me about that. How did you get into the industry? What do you love about it? Why should people want to work with you and know more about the business and the opportunity that you have to share with us?
Yeah, great question. So honestly, most of us in the lending space kind of stumble into the industry. It was an opportunity that was presented to me at a company back in 2008. And if you recall, 2008 wasn't the best period for mortgage and real estate. With the crash and everything that endured through those periods. But I had no idea about that. I was so green. I was happy for the opportunity to be at that time I was a processor, mortgage processor. So I was on the operations side. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to people. I enjoyed helping people. And that helped prompt me into more opportunities. It moved me into some more opportunities on and off. Of course, the crash happened. I left the mortgage industry, came back. Was in an operations role, processing role again. And then I went into secondary markets before becoming a mortgage closer for 3 or 4 years prior to becoming a loan originator 4 years ago. Okay. And so that was a very large arc for me. Okay. Not many lenders can say that they've gone on the operations side, done many roles and done it successfully. Yes. Prior to joining the sales team. So I believe that is a value add that not a lot of lenders can say that they have.
Okay.
Being able to see things from the other side of the spectrum, being able to have a creative and a great partnership with people on the operations side, because I've been there,
Yeah.
understanding their roles, especially with the closing department, so that we can literally create a mortgage plan that works for them, number one. But number two, I can talk them through 90% of what's going to happen while in the process.
Yes. Yes. And when you say secondary market, for those who are new to those kind of terms, exactly does that mean?
Rates. So I locked
Rates.
interest rates.
Okay.
That's
All
the best
right.
way.
And why is that important for us to understand and know?
Well, we understand a lot of times we as lenders don't typically talk about rates. We talk more about payment, but it's good to have a working knowledge of how the index works, how the rates work, so that we're better able to assist the consumer, better able to answer the questions as it relates to market. A lot of times people are asking, I mean, the simple question is, are rates going to go up? Or are rates going to go down? I can tell you, yes, they are always going to go up or down. That's exactly what's going to happen. If I could predict the market, I don't think I'd be doing this space like this in this aspect or in this how I do it. But overall, again, it just lends back to being able to advise people in the best method possible, and having that experience as a part of the background is a value add and a definite bonus.
Absolutely. So I always say being in the real estate industry overall, it is just not for the faint at heart. So in your opinion, what keeps you going? Like, why? You said you love the work that you do, but what do you love about it? Like, what's so important about your role through the process?
Right. And so I can recall back when I was in the operations side, thinking about a decision to go onto the sales side, because my wife kept telling me, you need to go into sales, you need to go into sales, you have greater opportunity there. I was feeling a ceiling a little bit in the role that I was in, was doing well. But at the time we just had our son. He was about 7-8 months old. And the thing that got into my mind was, I want to make sure that when he takes steps, he takes his first steps in our house. Amen. Right. It didn't work that way. He took steps in my parents' house, and then stopped walking. I'm like, what are you doing? So he would only walk over there, which is the funniest thing in the world. But eventually we got to a place, and I have pictures on my Instagram videos and stuff like that, where he was running in his backyard. And I'm like, I love the feeling of it. I love the feeling of creating an opportunity that he never experienced before.
Yeah.
And I said, if I feel like that, how much more can I help other families feel that same way and have that same experience?
Indeed.
So that prompted me to really push and yield to get into a sales environment and go into sales. And the platform that I'm on gave me the opportunity to do so, which is great.
Yes, it is. So I know you probably have come across this from time to time as well. So many people either don't believe they can be homeowners, they don't think they can afford it, even though in Illinois, in many cases, they're paying more money for a rent than mortgage.
Yes.
What would you share with them? What do they need to know from the man himself who does this job every day?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is what you focus on expands, right?
Yes.
So if you want to own a home, you need to focus on the steps that it takes to own a home. You need to be partnered with the right people who create that opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Delayed is not denied, is what I always tell clients. Just because we can't get you into a home this very second doesn't mean that it's gonna elude you forever and escape you forever. Mm-hmm. So what do you need to put into place? What processes do you need to start working on? What do you need to start saving? What do you need to start spending less on? How do you allocate your budget? Do you have a budget? Those conversations are the conversations that we have. They're hard conversations because they really, really allow you to and give you the opportunity to focus. Most people don't look at their bank statements. They just spend, right? They know what's coming in on the 15th and the end of the month because it's a static, it's a flow that's consistent. Mm-hmm. But what's going out, what and how can we make sure that we have the money work for them? So that's really largely what we do. We encourage people. We let them know, hey, this is certainly an opportunity for you. Maybe you need some housing counseling. Listen, I teach at 2 to 3 different housing counseling agencies from time to time. I
never knew that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do that with Chicago Habitat for Humanity.
Okay.
We have some classes rolling out in January, which are good. I
Okay.
just did one with Chicago Urban League. I have one with South Suburban Housing Agency coming up soon for the
Okay.
South Side, and that's an in-person. There's all these, and West Cook Homeownership Center out of the Austin area. So
Okay.
there's leverage, there's opportunity, and there are people who literally get paid to put you in homes and to educate you on the process, some of
Yes.
which you don't have to pay for, especially with some of these housing counseling agencies. Or even if it's a small nominal fee, let's say it's $100,
Hmm.
is $100 worth an opportunity for you to live life by design? Is it it's $100 worth the opportunity for you to get educated on the ways and the steps towards becoming a homeowner? I think
Yeah,
yes.
we literally spent $100 with just myself and two kids the other night at dinner.
Yeah,
So we know it's affordable if you
yeah,
want it to be, right?
absolutely. What you,
Yeah,
again, what you focus on expands.
true.
And is your money working on your behalf? Are you putting a mission behind what you're doing with every dollar?
I love that. I love that. That's so good. That's so good. Oh, that's so good. And you just see, I'm telling you, you're just full of surprises. I had no clue you did that stuff. You got, and what are some of the exact classes that you teach and courses that you teach?
So they're all geared around home buyer workshops. So
Okay.
it's just basic steps to home ownership. What are the steps that it takes? What lenders look for,
Mhm.
what they look at,
Okay.
and essentially from start to finish, what the process looks like for the consumer. Because you and I both know that
Mhm.
this process can be overwhelming to the first time homeowner.
Absolutely.
It can be tremendously overwhelming, it could be frustrating, it could be difficult, it can be challenging. But that class helps to pad some of that challenge, because now
Okay.
they're going in as an educated buyer,
Mhm.
knowing what to expect within reason.
Yeah, and see, you're such a great and strong communicator, and that's what I love about the clientele that we serve and work together on, because I know when they are working with you, they're going to understand every step of the process throughout the way, and that's so important. I don't know about you, I'm so old school when
Yeah.
it comes to communication, to where for me the texting thing, when it's something like that, I always look at it and say this is the biggest investment most families are going to make in their life. They need to be
Yeah.
talking to a human being, not just
Yeah.
texting and getting email communications. What's your way to communicate to your clients? What do you find to be the most effective way to help people understand?
And so it depends on the client.
Okay.
For me, when I do, so if a client comes to me, if Shauna Weatherspoon's like, Jason, I have somebody for you to contact, we have a 5-minute conversation. We talk
Okay.
about what their mission is, what they're looking to do, how soon they're looking to purchase a home.
Hmm.
What are there any barriers in the way? Quick conversation. And
Yep.
then we talk about the consultation, the process. So I tell them, after hearing their information, hearing their story, I talk to them in brief about the process. Like, hey, the first step is to make sure that you qualify. And we do a pre-approval process. Pre-approval
Hmm.
is broken into 4 components. Do you like pie? That's the weirdest question. Do I like pie? Yes. Do you like pie? Because
You
if you
see
think
how I'm
about,
looking at you like, what?
do you like pie?
uh,
Because when I explain to consumers, I tell them, hey, pie is the 4 pieces to home ownership, is the 4 pieces of the process. You have
okay.
your credit, which
Hmm.
is which is, are you paying your bills on time? What
Okay.
bills are outstanding? What bills are out there? Do you have any lates, any foreclosures? You have your income. What do you make on the 15th and the end of the month? Is it on the
Okay.
15th and the end of the month, or is it a 1099 salary? We look at your assets. Are you putting money in the bank? If so, what does that look like?
Okay.
And the last piece is the property. Are you looking for a single family? Is it a multi-unit?
Hmm.
What are those components? So we talk about the 4 C's, or I call it the pie, because most people like pie and they can look at 4 quadrants and think of it
Hmm.
from that perspective, right?
Okay.
And then from there, once that's complete, I say, hey, we talk about this. This is the 4 pieces. We get this information by having you complete a mortgage, a loan application. It's something that's digital. You can complete it online if you're able. If you don't like digital, we can take it over the phone. We can talk through it.
Okay.
But the big piece is looking at that information, collecting the documentation so that we can review the information at length, and then setting up a loan consultation. Now, the loan consultation takes 20 to 30 minutes. We set it up on the call, and we
Okay.
talk. And excuse me, in that loan consultation, we literally talk through what you're spending,
Okay.
talking through what our findings are on the credit report, what we're looking at from that standpoint. And then we make sure that at the end of our consultation, you know exactly where your purchase price is going to be, which is important because your realtor, Shauna Weatherspoon, is going to know how much can you spend and make sure that we find the house for you in that price point. We talk about your payment because we want to make sure that your payment is comfortable. Yes. I don't set the payment. I suggest the payment. You set the payment. What payment makes sense for you and your family? Okay. Right. Yep. Do not let a lender max you out unless you're comfortable with maxing you out. Right. Because that's a payment that you're making. For me, it's not just about home ownership. It's about home sustainability. Can you live in that home if the what if happens? Amen. Can you continue to pay your mortgage if the what if happens? Right. Yep. And then the final piece is the out-of-pocket expenses. What are you bringing to the closing table? What is your out-of-pocket cash to close? Are we able to utilize a down payment assistance? Do you want down payment assistance? We talk through all of those pieces at length so that at the end of the day, you know your price point, you know your payment, you know your out-of-pocket expenses. Okay, and then Shauna will set you up based on those parameters and get you rolling from that aspect. If we need to revisit it, we talk through it so that we know, okay, hey, I'm not really finding anything at this price point. I know I only wanted to pay $1,000 a month. Right. What does $1,200 look like for me? Right. And then I go to the table and I say, hey, tell me where your taxes are for the areas that you're seeing the homes that the client really likes. Yeah. And we work to put a plan together based around that.
I love it. Do you know in 18 years, you're the first lender that I ever heard say home ownership sustainability and how important that is versus just closing a deal and getting somebody in a house?
Are you serious?
I swear to God. I swear to God. Come on, brother. Come on, money making this. I love so that.
Important. Especially in the communities that we live in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Let's talk about it.
It's so important to have sustainability in home ownership. Yes. That's how we move the dollar. And that is how we create actual wealth.
Wealth. Hello. Say them good words. And see, now I'm all warm and fuzzy. One of my favorite words. Okay. So let's talk about a couple of things. And of course, we want to be good about time and compliance issues. So please, if I'm out of my lane, just get me right back to where I need to be, please.
You got it.
Credit. Can we talk about credit scores? A lot of people don't know what their credit scores are. They don't know if their scores are high enough to get approved. What do they need to get to start the process to even apply and get pre-approved?
Great question. So credit is a funny thing because many lenders will have different credit score variances as to what they use to qualify. There are some lenders that can go down to 580, 560 as far as a credit score and get you into a home. There are some lenders that require a 640. I know for many of the down payment assistance programs in Illinois, the minimum score is a 640. Okay. And then also there are some lenders, the big banks, that require a minimum of a 680 to get you into a score or to get you into a property. So it really depends on the lender and where you get pre-approved at to qualify. Okay. Yes. But again, it goes back to what I said, delayed is not denied. If you're close, if you make sure that the lender that you choose has the ability to rescore you. What is making your score so low? Let's educate you on that. Most people will know it's because I don't pay my bills on time. Well, can you pay your bills on time? Right. That's the first step. You know, what are the bills that you're delinquent on? Can we pay them off, or can we get to within 30% of the high credit limit as far as credit cards are concerned? Yeah. I think the power to educate on those aspects will turn someone into a buyer over time.
Okay. And what does rescoring mean for those who are not aware of that term?
Thank you. Rescoring is, let's say you come in and you have a 630 and we need you at a 640 in order to get you down payment assistance programs. Let's say that the reason that you're at a 630 is because you're at 50% of your high credit limit on your credit cards. I can look at a potential rescore, or basically look at the data and say, well, if we go from 50% to 30% on that one credit card, does that move the threshold for that particular trade or that particular credit score? Okay. Wintrust, we use a tri-merge report. So we use Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. If it's just a 640 or one, I can potentially do a rescore on just one and look and see if I can get that score up to a 640. If so, we're winning. We're in the game. We get you pre-approved and we get you ready to go.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for explaining that, by the way. Okay, next question is, and it was a good one for you too. We talked about let's talk about down payment assistance because people hear that and all they hear, in my opinion, in many cases is free money. Can you elaborate on what that means and how the program works? Because I think there's a huge disconnect in our marketplace about the program and
Yeah,
what it means.
absolutely. So down payment assistance and bond programs, the whole mission and the whole reason that states have those is to help people get into homes. Is it free money? Not exactly. The money is used in order to purchase a home, and it's forgiven over time. So, for instance, for Illinois, there are a couple of grant programs that are forgiven over time. There's a $6,000 program through Illinois Housing Development Authority that's
Mhm.
forgiven over a 5-year period. There's another one through that same governing institution that gives you up to 7,500 that's forgiven over, or yeah, seven, I think six, no, 6,000 that's forgiven over 10 years. But there's also two programs that are at $7,500 that's not forgiven. That's
Mhm.
something that you repay if you decide to sell the home or refinance.
And
And
is
then
that
there's
over 5 years? Is that a
that one is
5 year?
not, that 7,500 one is not. That one is a soft second that sits on your property until you decide to sell the home or refinance.
Okay,
Okay, and
forever.
we can give links in your show notes regarding the IDA as well. I think that way
Okay,
they have access to all of that information too.
okay.
And then there's a $10,000 loan, interest-free loan that you pay back over a 10-year period at 83.33 a month.
See, you're so good. I love that because all people they don't hear. I don't know why they don't hear any of those things. And then
Right.
I think a lot of times when it's coming from the realtor partner, sometimes they're not seeing it as okay. We can find other programs and other ways to get you where you got to go and help you to get in the home,
Right.
but that's not always the solution.
Right. That it's a process too. And then
Yeah,
with those, some of those programs can carry slightly higher interest rates than traditional mortgages.
yeah,
And so what happens is some lenders will just shy away from it altogether,
yeah,
maybe because they either don't have the product or they think that that's not the best solution for a client situation.
yes.
My take on it is I'm going to present you with options so that you can be an informed buyer and make an informed decision as it relates
Amen.
to it.
Amen.
Can you get a mortgage without having to do the down payment assistance? Yes. Can we price the loan, price the rate to where you may get some level of credit that can help towards your closing costs? Yes.
Yeah.
Is that in the best interest of you? You tell me. You let
Right.
me know exactly what works. Okay.
Hmm.
There have been clients that have gone with the down payment assistance route, and I've been okay with that. There have been clients that have gone with saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Just give me a slightly higher interest rate to see if we can get a little bit more of a credit towards your closing costs.
Hmm.
And I'm okay with that.
Right.
The big thing in that loan consultation is to make sure that you're as informed as possible about the process, about the products, so that you can be informed, so that when you write pen to pad on contract, you can say, okay, I'm going to go with this program because I think that's the best for me and my family at this time.
So you said some keywords and you've said them a few times that I'm hearing as big takeaways for anyone who is considering getting a loan or refinancing their home. I'm hearing communication, I'm
Yes.
hearing well informed, and I'm hearing educated.
Right.
What other things should someone look for in a good lender partner when they're going through those processes, in your
Communicate
professional opinion?
communication as well. I think communication as a lender is really key.
Yeah,
Lenders can never communicate enough.
agree.
Sometimes even in the opportunities where we're communicating multiple times a week, that's not enough. And
Hmm.
so it's good for us to have that feedback. So and to be comfortable with that. I think that's why a lot of times it's good to have a great working rapport with the mortgage consultant and the realtor and
Yeah,
everybody else that you're working with, because if they
yeah,
can't answer your phone call or they can't answer your text message, good or bad information
that's right.
aside,
Say it.
then they're
Yep,
not the right
say
person
it.
for you. I had a client, all of our I think what happens on social media is everyone posts the rosy loans and the rosy
Yeah, yeah, true. Very true.
closings and everything like that. But they don't get the fact that there are some challenging files and there are some times where clients are not happy with us. I
Right.
appreciate that feedback. And
Yes.
as bad as I want to not answer the phone sometimes when a
Right.
client is upset or frustrated with the process, because I don't
Mhm.
take it personal,
Mhm.
um, I answer the phone. I have to. It's part of
Yes,
my
you do.
job. It's what we
Yes, you
do.
do. I can co-sign for that, by the way. Yes, you do.
The truth, I have to answer it,
That's
and
right.
we and regardless, I'm an information provider. I'm your consultant for
Yes,
life. So I have to give you
indeed.
the good, bad, the skinny, and talk you through it so that we can work to make sure that this is a reality and work through the challenge. It's only,
Very much so.
there's it's only problem or challenges. Trisha Brower says, which is my area manager person that helped me get into the business. I don't want to say it wrong, but there are no problems. There are only challenges, and challenges have solutions. So
That's good.
what is the
I gotta
challenge?
remember that. Say that again.
There aren't problems, there are only challenges, and challenges have solutions. So how do we get over the challenge? I understand you're frustrated. That's not going to remove the challenge. What do we need? What do we need to do? Okay, let's work to get this taken care of. I appreciate your feedback. I will take that in consideration, but right now I'm trying to get you these keys.
Yeah. And you just opened the door, and I'm walking right into the next question. Let's talk about challenges. What are some of the biggest challenges you see as a Black professional in the industry? Because let's face it, it's not a whole bunch of us, especially not in our area. Right. And then what are some of the challenges that we do find solutions for to better assist our clients that come from clients? Because I think that too, when you're talking about social media, right, you're right. You only see and hear the rosy colored pictures, with everybody's happy and smiling, but we face challenges too. We are actually human beings as well, that we work very, very hard to take care of our clients. And like you said, it's not always an easy gig all the time. How do you get through that? How do you stay positive? How do you do what you do, being in the skin that you're in? How about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is how you show up matters, how you appear matters.
Yeah.
As you can see, I have locks. They growing long and strong.
Yes, they are.
I'm a big dude, 6'2", 3+. Like I am. When I walk into a room, I'm noticed. What comes out of my mouth is the first 5 seconds of a person's reality of or assumption of what I am and who I am. Not really what happens when I walk into a room. So the first thing that I had to learn how to do, and the first thing I'm counseling some of the people, it's so funny. I've got people that I'm actually mentoring in this space that has just started a business. It's literally understanding who you are, right? And understanding that there are people that will want to work with you, and there are people that may not want to work with you. And that's okay. There's plenty of business in this space for you to be exactly who you are.
Amen.
And operate in excellence.
That's right.
Operating in excellence. I vowed very, very early in my business to make sure that I will not compare, I will not complain, and I will not compete. The only person that's stopping me from doing what I need to do from a business aspect is me.
That's period. Right. That's right. Period.
Sometimes, and I think we're getting into business development and mentoring with some of the people that we're talking with in this conversation, but I think sometimes it's okay to unsubscribe from people, from their Facebook posts.
Talk about it.
Save them as friends and all that other good stuff.
Yes.
But sometimes if you're not careful, you're always comparing yourself to that person. And a lot of people think that this is a microwave success industry. It is not. There are some people that in 3 years can do a tremendous amount of business, and they're growing in leaps and bounds.
Right.
There are some people that it's a 5-year, that's a 7-year look. And what you're seeing is the result of a lot of work, a lot of hard work.
Yes, Lord.
So I think that's the first thing. As far as our clients is concerned, recognizing number one, that we are professionals and we are humans as well. We have, even though, in our business, there aren't really office hours, we have to protect our office hours. Hello, we got to protect our time.
That's right.
And so, but even in those moments, there are times where I'll answer the phone. It's 8:00 at night, because I know answering that phone matters. Those are the hours that our clients are here. There are people that'll say, "Well, protect your bunker, protect your space, protect your time."
Yep.
But I'd rather take a 2-minute call at 8:00 at night than have to deal with it in the morning. If I can get it, if it's inside of 5 minutes and I know it can be resolved relatively quickly, we'll do that. Or I'll text. Protect your time. I think the other piece is making sure that you're protecting your mental space too, because this can mess.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, this can mess with your mental. In our profession, that mentally it can be draining because from the moment that you wake up, you're working. You know, you got text messages and emails waiting on your response, and everything is time driven. When you go on a contract, you 30 to 45 days. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, no, you know, there is no consolation. You have to make sure that you hit your deadlines.
Yeah.
So that requires you to be on all the time. And sometimes it's good to take a moment and take a step back and kind of breathe and focus and get yourself well mentally, and making sure that you're able to serve people at a very high level.
Amen. So that's one of the things. So, and many of our listeners are entrepreneurs. So I don't think, and I've been an entrepreneur well over 20 years now. I don't think that's something we can never hear enough of. Is ways, healthier ways in how to protect your time and your mental space. So can you share some of the things that you do? You said texting is one of the things. And again, I'm a witness, and you do that very well, by the way.
Thank you.
I love that. I still get the information I need. I love that. And we will be talking about the family side of Mr. Mitchell as well, if it's okay to touch on that for a few minutes, because I think that's important for people to hear as well. But you're really good at saying, hey, out to dinner with the family right now. Can I call you back, or can I text you some information at whatever time? What other things like that do you do? And it never sounds, just so you know, because I don't think I've ever said this to you, it never sounds like, it never sounds like you're too busy, or it never comes off the wrong way. I know I'm going to get the information I need. I love that you've responded back in some form, and then I'm good with that. So you the way you communicate that, even in your messages, it doesn't. I think sometimes people can take offense to that because they think we're supposed to drop everything we're doing every time they call or text. Right. Were you always like that? Did you have to work your way to being like that? How did you get here? When did you arrive, brother?
I had to work my way to that. Yeah. Because you listen to different philosophies. I'm coached, I'm trained, you know, I listen to a lot of podcasts on growing business. I listen to a lot of business, a lot of leadership podcasts and things of that sort. And you basically learn to find your way to communicate that makes the most sense to you, and it's more real as a person to you. Okay. I work very hard to be as detailed as possible on my calendar, on my schedule. I have apps galore that I utilized. Okay. You know, like Todoist, for instance. If you're an Android, or I don't know if it's on Android. No hate, no shame. But I think it is actually. It is on Android. I've never
heard of it, but I'll look into it when my Android using self.
I'll mess it. But Todoist is fantastic.
Okay. Okay.
I linked Todoist with my another app called Fantastical. I know that's just Apple, but you can do Google Calendar as well. Mm-hmm. You just learn to find ways to not miss a beat as it relates to your business. So for instance, like you said, you'll text me and say, or you'll call me and I can't answer. I'll text right back and say, hey, I can't talk right now. Can I hit you back in a little bit? Yep. Yes. Sometimes you'll give me information that I need to work through. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you won't, where where we just got to talk through something. Fine. Okay. As soon as we in that, I send a reminder on my calendar, on my alarm, to call you back in 15 minutes so that you're not left holding the bag, if you will, so that you're not left without information. Right. Because at the end of the day, we have to make sure that if we say we're going to do something, we do it. We say we're going to call somebody back, we do it. And I'm a person who makes sure that as a mortgage lender, I'm not like other lenders. And the one thing that I can do that other lenders I know don't do well is communicate, is follow up, is follow back, and follow through. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm perfect, right? There are some times where things will slip because we're human. We make mistakes, or things. I mean, we're very busy in our outside lives as well. Right. But at the end of the day, we're bound by our word. My full government name is on these documents. Amen. You know, which means that the name of my father and my grandfather and my great-great-grandfather rests with the documents that I do, and rests with. Come on, Bishop. Like, it's the truth. Come on, people see that's the stuff I'm talking. That's why we get along so well. Yeah. Because I take my name so serious, and my kids will be like, Mom, but like, no, that's our name on that. It is that serious. It does mean that much, right? Yeah, it's the thing you live with, and it's the thing that you die with. Amen. Like, that's the one thing that you will have. Yep. When they look at your obituary, when they're reading the thing on the back of your little photo on the front, your name is first. and everything that happens is on the end of it.
You better
So
preach.
it's, that's that, and I carry legacy with me. What I'm
Yes,
doing
you
now
do.
is establishing future for my children and my children's children. So if
Amen.
I can do it, and I can carry my name with that, that
Yeah.
same level of pride and emotion and responsibility now rests on the souls of my children, and I don't take that lightly.
Period. Period. I don't think I've ever seen you have a bad day. Do you have bad days? Ah!
Oh, do I have bad days?
Do you ever?
I have some very challenging days because it's just our space. There are some days where I don't want to talk to nobody. My wife will tell you, she'll be like, oh, one of them, like one of them, I'll be back. And I'll sit in the garage and find something constructive to do, or because our days don't end. I think what people don't realize is that our work life and our home life are one life.
Yes.
I have one calendar with all of my activities, all of my kids' activities, everything that's going on with our with my date night with my, like, all of that is on one calendar.
Yeah.
When my day ends, my day actually begins, because my children don't want to hear that I had a long day.
That's right.
That is a day where they had a great time. They want to tell me about everything they learned. They want to tell me about all the stuff that they did in class, and they want to do their homework with me and show me that they can write and all that other stuff. Like, I cannot be tired. So in essence, do I have hard? Yeah, days are challenging. But what we're working for and what we're fighting for is worth it.
Yes.
And I think I take that as at the forefront of what I do.
Yeah.
Because I know that what rests on my shoulders from my family, I can't let slip. I can't let it fall.
That's right. That's right.
Shauna Weatherspoon sold our house when we bought our first house.
She sure did.
Sold our house.
Yes, she did.
So she saw the house that we came from into the house that we're into now.
Come on.
And that's not to brag.
No, it's not.
That's simply because it's simply the reason that we had to buy the house that we did is because we have mom with us. We have 2 children with us.
Yeah.
We need space. We need opportunity. We need to make sure that the kids are in an amazing school district. I can't have hard days and rest on those days because of what I've established as a business owner and what I have as a responsibility as a father and a husband.
That's it. I actually just had to we had to have a good sit down and face to face with our younger children just last week about those kind of things, and saying, hey, this takes the whole family working this deal to make all of these moving parts that we have every day. This is part of the deal. So we have to take care of it, because not every career allows you or force you the opportunity to do all of these things.
No,
right?
This is our vision.
It's also important.
Yeah, it's our vision, right? This is the vision that I put on my vision board years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago is what I put on the vision board for the house that we live in today.
Amen.
I had to walk out every step day by day, and I'm still walking it out day by day, because now that we have it, got to keep it.
That's right.
That's right. That we're doing what we need to do. So yeah, do I have bad days? Yeah, I have some horrific days. And I don't think people who aren't in the space, I don't think they recognize that.
They don't.
But in spite of that, we have to still show up.
Yes.
As if nothing, because there are no problems. There are only challenges, and challenges have solutions.
I am writing that down today. I'm writing that down. You blessed me with that. So thank you for that. And again, I can say that you are a great man of all of the things, an example of you really walk the walk and talk the talk. You 24/7. You truly do.
Thank you.
Do. So we see you and we salute you. So I want you to know that firsthand. Absolutely. So let's talk about this fatherhood man marriage stuff. Yeah. How you doing? How everybody hanging on?
Everybody good.
Everybody good.
Everybody good. Everybody good.
So those are big jobs. How do you balance that side of it? Talk to us about the things that are important to you coming from a man in your seat.
So I think one of the things that I had to realize is that balance doesn't exist. It's a myth.
Say that again. Wait, say it again.
I said balance does not exist. It's only a myth.
Oh man. Okay. Dang, that's good.
It's just a myth.
So true.
We need to understand that there's a pendulum, right?
Yeah.
Pendulum is always going to swing. Always going to swing. Sometimes the pendulum is going to swing more towards making sure that your child stays out of the principal's office and everybody's happy and good in school and all of that's good stuff. And the wife is happy and everything's good. Sometimes it's going to swing in the direction of, man, I need to focus on business development and growth, because what I'm seeing coming in over the next 60 to 90 days is not what I want. It's not what I want. It's not what I want to accomplish. So I need to make sure I take care of what I need to take care of, so that the pendulum can swing back. It's a myth. It's a figment of our imagination. So I've learned to create walls. Number one, I've learned to create a calendar that helps me to focus on being as balanced as possible, even though it's a myth, right? So knowing that, and then focusing on making sure that there's time slotted in there for me to be me and to do me.
Yes.
So is there a time for me to sit down and watch it? I don't really watch television, but can I watch a television show that somebody talked about 3 years ago? Yeah, I can sit down and watch 1 or 2 episodes. Then I don't feel productive. So then I go into doing other stuff.
Yeah, guilty.
But but it's balance. I mean, it's not a balance, but it's learning the pendulum swing and learning how to make sure that you navigate both areas so that nothing slips and nothing falls through the cracks. Because at the end of the day, I want a successful career without a broken family. And a lot of people can't say they have that.
That is true. And you know what? Oh my God, you just touched so many points again. So I always talk to people about, success to each one of us can look completely different, right? Well, success to me is a happy and healthy marriage and family and all of those things. Yeah, I want the financial things to it too, but what's all that if this is a whole mess and a hot mess? And I see that a lot in our industry specifically, where people are highly successful, but their kids miss something. So, and I'm sure you've seen that up close too with other people. How do you mentioned date nights, and you've been married for quite a while now. Like, how important is that? Are you planning the date nights? Does it matter who plans it at this point at the stage of the game you all are in? Help us out with that. Share.
Good question. So prior to the pandemic, we would have one date night every single week.
Every week?
Every week, every Wednesday. It was slotted in our calendar every Wednesday. Now that didn't mean that we had to go spend a whole bunch of money. I could make, because we do stovetop popcorn. We don't do microwave. So I would stovetop some popcorn and we would watch a show, because me and her watch no, we don't watch none of the shows that we have completely different tastes as far as shows are concerned.
Okay.
But we make an effort to find something that we can mutually enjoy and we watch it.
Okay.
That's date night. It could be go to dinner. That could be date night. It could be river walking Naperville and getting some ice cream with the kids. That's date night, Now it's kind of shifted because nobody wants to go outside for the most part. And for me, because of the dynamic of our marriage and the dynamic of what's going on with our kids and their schedules and things of that sort, I take care of all of the food and whatever is going on. So I am the primary, I think the typical role of the household in our family is reversed. So when my wife is working, because her schedule is really crazy, when my wife is working, I'm already planning out lunch and dinner. Like, we already have that figured out. We work a system with the homework. Sometimes she does it. Sometimes if I need to work late afternoon and take care of some stuff, then she takes care of it. Again, that goes back to pendulums, right? But that's really
the responsibilities of that. Okay.
How I make sure that we're healthy as a family. We do constant communication where we talk through. I don't think my wife and I have ever had an argument. And I think we'll have disagreements and we'll disagree on some things. But we don't argue. And I think it's because through our relationship, through our marriage, we've learned how to talk through the challenges, right? And work towards solution. Now, the solution may not be what I like, it may not be what she like.
Right.
But if it gets us to the end result,
then
we go there. So learning to keep that dynamic of our marriage well is great. I know the old adage is happy wife, happy life, but I think honestly it's happy spouse, happy house. You want to make sure that both of us have a valued interest in what we're doing for our marriage, what we're building, because we're literally building legacy. And making sure that we're protecting that bunker so that nothing is going to get in the way of us achieving our success.
That's phenomenal. Never had an argument. Ooh, Jesus, I got a lot of work to do every day in my life.
we disagree. We disagree. You know, there are some things that we disagree on, but we don't argue. Like, there's no reason arguing. Let's find out what. Okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna write it on this big old bulletin board I have. You hear what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna put that also on the bulletin board. How do we get the things to align so that we still accomplish what we're both looking to accomplish?
Right. So did you get that way of thinking from your father? You're watching your mother and father come up. How did you? Because I know a lot of men, like, just in no shot at men, but they struggle with communicating.
Yeah.
Did you come from that type of household?
That's a good question. I never really saw disagreement or arguments in my household.
Is that right?
But I think for me, I'm a peace person.
Yeah.
Always been, like, you know, friendliest people, the friendliest person that you would know. But I'm very cerebral. So my process is always thinking behind whatever somebody's saying to try to find. I've always been a person to try to solve something, right?
Yep.
So I guess my mentality has always been, well, this is the issue. This is what you're presenting. What's the resolution? And can we agree on the resolution?
Yeah.
And I think that's helped, because I'm like, you know, oftentimes there's always a way to figure something out, you know. And I think the other piece of our marriage that helps us be successful is making sure that we don't let stuff fester.
Yes.
You know, if you look at our backyard, if you look at the weeds in the backyard, every person's backyard has a level of weeds, right? How you deal with the weeds at the root level makes all the difference. Mm-hmm. Or are you going to just sit there and let that weed grow? Because the weed, it's not going to do anything but suck life out of the grass, right? Suck life out of the other plants that are around it, because that's how it grows.
Right.
Why not deal with it at the root and make sure that you're sweeping for that
and spread, right?
To ensure that that's not spreading and that's not an issue.
That's so good. That's so good. So, oh, that's so good. All of that's so good. So for the people out there who are still on the dating scene, men and women, and they want to be married, what advice would you give to the ladies, and what advice would you give to the men?
Boy, this thing done shifted, didn't it?
I don't think enough of these kind of conversations are happening publicly.
Right.
So, and I want to get to the real of it. Like, again, people see all the cute and the fluffy stuff all of the time, and not every day is set up that way. But I think it's so important. Like, for example, our oldest daughter is 27. Okay. She keep picking, I'm telling all her business right now. She keep picking she wants a husband, but she keep picking the same kind of dude who ain't never gonna be her husband.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm about running out of advice to give her, brother. So help a sister out.
Yeah. Well, I think you answered it.
Okay.
The power to define is the power to fulfill. Right. So if you're seeking a partner, you have to define that partner. What is that partner to you? Okay. And why does that matter for you? When you can find value in what you're number one, you got to find value in yourself, right? You have to understand and to know yourself. But after that, you have to learn to find value in your time, value in your mental capacity, in your mental space, and value in your future. Yeah. The only way you can do that, especially when you're seeking partnership, is to define that partner and making sure that your time is spent only on those that are helping to define that characteristic for what you're looking for. I think that to me is huge, because you run into that all the time. I keep finding the same person. I keep running the same person. Well, why are you in that same circle?
That's right.
Why aren't you stepping out of that circle? Yep. Define what you want and positioning yourself. That's just like people who want to be millionaires.
Right.
You know, me and you see millionaires in our space every day. Yep. We walk with them. Like they are millionaires in our space, like nothing else.
Absolutely.
And when you see them, they don't really look like they're millionaires. Right. Number one. And then they define how to do it. And you're just like, okay, well, if I position myself around those people, I know that I'll walk in that same level of grace, because all they're going to do is pour and educate. If you have the right people around you. Yep. If I'm looking for the right partner, if I'm looking for the right person, I need to make sure that strategically I'm positioning myself around the people that walk like what I'm looking for.
Indeed. Indeed.
That's, I
So
mean, I'm 12 years out of the game or 15 years out of the game. So that's what I would do if I was because me and my wife talk about all the time. Like, dude, I don't think I'm like if life were to end for us as a married couple, I'm like, I don't know how I would deal with this scene because this scene is wicked,
listen.
But again, it would go back to me defining what that is, what type of partnership that is going to be, and walking that out. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with that. So
Amen. Amen. So does your advice change? Because I think I know the answer to this. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Is your advice the same for men and women that you just shared?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured it would be. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
it's the
good.
same.
That's good.
It's the same.
So let's flip it back to Mary. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, and I think this will probably tie into what you're about to say next. Yeah, answer your question because I think what you're about to ask is going to help me go into my next point.
Well, I'm going to flip it to married couples and ask you for the couples 12 years down the road, maybe 5 years down the road, maybe 50 years down the road. What advice would you give them? And let me just put some real oomph and stuff in there because I said this to you earlier. I had one of them real rough days in our business yesterday. Kicked my tail. Worked 3-4 months on these deals, and when I tell you they're all blowing up on me, so I didn't sleep last night. I really didn't sleep at all. My husband is a man, a humble giant like yourself as well, where he carries a lot on his shoulders, and I'm not always successful at this as his wife, but I try not to put that extra pressure on him. So I was up, and I know I interrupted his sleep, which I'm not proud about today. So I have to make sure what I'm working on making sure of, and I want to help other couples understand that and communicate. How can we as women be better wives to our partners and our spouses as well? What are some of the things that we can do? And, making sure, although we are further down the road, that we keep building the relationship, because that work is never done. Lord knows I don't want nothing else or nothing way different in that capacity, but what can we do to keep growing in the relationship as well from you as a married man and a man?
I think the biggest thing is making sure that you understand communication boundaries.
So you're going back to communication.
Over time you learn your spouse's language, but understand the fact that those languages can change.
Yes. That's good.
Their expectations can change. So having an inventory of what's working and what's happy now, and always being cognizant of what they're looking for and what their mission is and what's their goals, what's their dream. When you first get into dating and marriage, you're dreaming together, right? Right. I'm dreaming about this is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And you get married, you get that ring, you get married, you have children, and you start to lose focus on dreaming together.
Yes.
Your kids grow up, come out, and you're an empty nester now. And you realize that 15, 20 years of your life was spent on making sure that they're not broken, right? But not cognizant of the fact that you may be breaking your spouse because you haven't invested that same amount of time in making sure that they're okay and that they're working and that they're living according to the purpose that you all have designed as a couple. So making sure that you're always taking constant inventory, I think, is key. I struggle with it. I think all married couples do. Yeah. Because we can I'm gonna go to the man real quick. Man, what happens is when we get to getting frustrated and stuff like that, we start to internalize our emotion and our frustration because we don't want to push it out on our spouses. Yes. Number one, because we're afraid, we might be afraid of their response. Number two, we may think that there's no way for them to help us. And number three, we have this I'm a man, I need to just deal with it mentality. No. You have to make sure that you're around and you're surrounded by your one or two people that you can go to and have counsel with that's wise and that'll help you through the situation.
Say it again.
And then you also need to make sure that you're having that constant communication with your spouse and talking with them. Marriage is not an easy thing. It's hard. I mean, it is what it is. It's hard. You take two people and you say, y'all are one. Y'all are one. But you don't remember the fact that there's what's called a historic creation. So things that were spoken over them as children, things that they grew up with and they saw when they from their parents, things that they've had in their relationships growing up to that point. It's all stuff that's being carried into your marriage. It's called baggage, right? And some people think that once you get that ring, that the baggage goes away. No, it doesn't. Certain conversations, certain frustrations, certain things when it comes to money can trigger those emotions that were established before you were even in the picture. And they hold you accountable for that person's mistake or that person's challenge, because that's a part of their life that they haven't healed from. So understanding how to have those communication and those conversations, even the tough ones, and sometimes not having a response is okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Because I'm horrible at that. That's so good. Okay, I'm gonna remember that. Not
having a response is sometimes, because sometimes, especially as men, we just want to get stuff out on our heart. We don't want you to solve it. We just want to get stuff out on our heart because we want to be able to vocally express where our challenges lie. You may come back to the table in a couple of days and not even talk about it and be like, hey, I've been thinking we should probably do this. Tell me what your thoughts are. And that can
so sometimes women just need to be quiet. Sometimes it's what you're saying.
And then sometimes both of us need to just sit back. We have two ears for a reason. We take in the information. I know me, I have a problem with always trying to solve, right? So sometimes my wife could be venting or my children could be telling me things. And I'll say, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll fix this, we'll fix that. Right. And that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just good to just be that ear. And I'm a journaler, so I'm gonna be that ear. I'm a journal. We're gonna come back to it at some point, and I'm gonna work to try to see if there's a way that we can solve for it. But like I said, every marriage deals with it. It's just how you deal with it and how you approach it that makes all the difference. I don't have all the answers. We 12 years in. It's forever to go. That's a long time. Amen. The kids are 7 and 4. Life could happen. We just have to make sure that we're in front of it rather than letting challenges or letting little things fester and grow into big weeds that we can't control.
Look at you dropping all kind of knowledge today. Just dropping gems everywhere. I love it. I love it. Well, I want to thank you again. I know a lot of times I always tell people, I already know when the interviews are going to be really, really good. You dropped so many gems today, but before we pay these bills and get out the way, because again, we know you're a busy man. What do you, please close us out with your information. How can we connect to you? You out here giving marriage advice, getting people in houses, building wealth, creating legacy. How do we contact you directly, brother? Or Bishop? So I might have to start calling you Bishop now.
You are hilarious. So all social media, I'm on all social media. So LinkedIn is Jason Mitchell. I think Jason R.M. Mitchell. Facebook is Jason Mitchell as well, or the Jason Mitchell Mortgage Team if you want to get on my business page. And Instagram is Jason Mitchell Mortgage. TikTok is Hubby Daddy Mortgage Guy. So I haven't really Hubby Daddy Mortgage Guy. I haven't been doing it, but everybody's been telling me, dude, you need to get, because the reason I said Hubby Daddy Mortgage Guy is because I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a mortgage professional.
I love it.
That platform to talk through all of those, because I think we all need help at some level in our marriage. And like I said, I don't have all the answers, but maybe there's one or two things that I can say that can trigger an ability to respond and act in a way that's going to yield a greater success for you in your marriage and your business or what have you.
Thank you for your time. And we just keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Thanks. No, I appreciate you, Shauna. So full disclosure, Shauna Weatherspoon was my very first mortgage transaction. She had one client. I'm not going to say her name. I'll give the initials. I met Shauna at an event in Bolingbrook, and she gave me my first mortgage transaction. So all of my success and everything that I'm doing is because of the fact that you gave me my shot as a loan originator, and I appreciate you for that.
Do you know I just learned that for the first time right now? I never knew that.
My very first mortgage transaction.
Wow. And I'm gonna say this and get out the way, and I ain't saying it just to be saying it. That to date in 18 years was one of the toughest deals I ever worked. I never knew that.
Very first one.
I'm gonna get you. We're gonna get off of here before I start cussing on this.
I couldn't tell you.
I never knew that.
I couldn't tell you. Oh, but yeah, it was my first one.
I would have never known that in a million years. let's go and get off this podcast. Now I'm about to call you back and cuss you out though after this.
You're
God
so
bless,
funny.
take care, keep empowering the masses, brother. Keep on doing what you're doing. And thank you for being the man of God that you are.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Take care. God bless.
All right.